It's assessment time. Just like any other mobility thing, we want to see what you're doing right now and what you can do. All right? Because even though you have ranges of motion available, maybe you don't use them all the time, and maybe we can work on that. So we want to make sure that your body is operating at its fullest capacity, and breath is an amazing place to start for that. So we're going to focus on how you can breathe into your upper body, how you can breathe especially into the area of your shoulders, and how to reduce stress on any of the areas that are feeling it right now. Okay? So, for example, when I first worked with Brian, it was before his shoulder surgery, and looking around that area, that whole quadrant towards his shoulder, there was almost no movement happening, and it was difficult for him to breathe into that area. So what happens is, like when you breathe, stuff expands, stuff lets go, stuff expands, stuff lets go, right? So we have this beautiful expansion, open and expansion, and then releasing and let going, this contraction, this pumping, right? So it's good for your organs, it's good for your tissues. You get that nourishment and that exchange of fluids through stuff just from your breath work, right? So a lot of stuff is not, breathing is motion. It is muscular movement. It's almost like a massage from the inside of you, okay? So when we think of like heart, heart helps pump blood around the system, right? But it's not the only thing that helps pump blood around the system. Your muscular contractions do. It's why it's important for you to move on a frequent basis. Lymph doesn't have any pump like a heart. It's completely reliant on you moving stuff around. And then all of these extracellular fluids are super important that you get movement on a regular basis. And when you find in the assessment here, you might find some areas that don't move at all, and not even if you tried. You're probably not getting a lot of fluid exchange there. A lot of times those areas are areas that you're going to find are really cranky, or maybe the area, maybe that's like numb, and the area beside it that is doing all the moving, just like any other compensation, starts to get tired. And like it's not that it's doing its best, but it's not the area that's the one that's feeling it is more the victim than the problem. If we can open up this other thing, everything gets worked together. Okay, so we're going to do a bunch of assessment stuff, front side of body and back side of body. So you're going to need a tool. I'm going to have a belt here, and I have a couple pillows nearby too. We'll see if we need those. To start off, I just want you to observe what is. We're going to figure out what's happening right now. Just like Brian recommended, filming yourself would be a super awesome idea, because then you could really see and get a little closer than I am now. So you can maybe focus in on the chest. You could be lying in your back, doing all these things, and seeing what you get movement from. So we're going to bring our awareness to what is happening now, and then you're going to see what you can accomplish when you're cued to. Figure out what you can't, was the kind of the main thing of that. And then through practice, you're going to be able to eventually open up those things. It's going to take a good amount of practice before it becomes second nature, right? Like I do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and you can drill an armbar 100 times, but it's maybe till the thousandth rep that you, before you would do it in a stress situation where somebody was actually attacking you, okay? You need to practice this stuff until it's actually second nature. And so the dedicated practice is the stuff that's going to get you to that place, so you don't have to think about it so hard anymore. The nice thing about this, you're breathing all day, so there's enormous opportunity to take advantage of. You can just do one breath here, one breath there. I would love for you to do 4 times a day, set a little timer on your phone, whatever. Just notice 4 times a day. Oh, you know what? I'm going to work on my breathing today. I need a little break from work. I'm going to keep staring at my computer screen, but really I'm working on my breath. I'm just going to do 10 breaths, working on whatever thing that we're doing, and you'll get some ideas by the end of this video. Okay, so it's super inconspicuous. Nobody even has to know that you're doing it, and you're totally changing your whole neurology, physiology, the way that you're relating to your body, and all this super stuff. Beautiful. Okay, so I'm going to first notice what is. So I'd like you to just be comfortable. You can be any kind of seated position. You can be lying down. You can stand. Whatever you want. Okay, you could be doing a split. I don't know. Maybe you're an acrobat. You're in the shoulders core, so you're more likely to be flexible in the lower body, is what I was thinking. Anyway, so we get to here. Are my jokes as good as Brian's? I hope so. And I want you to just notice what is. So I'm going to breathe. You're going to breathe. Everybody's going to breathe. And I'll ask you to draw your attention to a couple things. Now, I recognize that me just telling you to focus on your breath is probably changing the way you breathe from what you normally do without thinking about it. We're still going to learn a lot here. Okay. Pay attention to what is moving when you breathe. What parts of your body can you feel move? get tight when you breathe? Are there any muscles that start working and maybe you don't need to? How does it make you feel? You're probably feeling a little change already. You've only done like 5 or 6 breaths. Isn't that amazing? I think in 2 breaths you could just go, hey self, how you feeling? And the breath is the assessment of how you're feeling. It can change it too. So now you draw attention to some more subtle things. Can you pay attention to the nose, to the air as it's at the tip of your nose? And just notice what that's doing. Can you track that all the way through your nostrils to the back of your throat? And how far down can you trace it? Any visuals come up for you? Any colors pop in your head? It can be interesting sometimes. Notice how the air is colder as it comes in, and how it's warmed when it goes out. Now we're going to move into, and you're videoing yourself, into what can be. So, starting off, just real simple. One hand on the belly, one hand on the chest. Can you please breathe for me? And I'm not going to cue you on like timing with me. So just see if you can breathe so that you don't feel any motion in the top hand, but you do feel motion in the bottom hand. Ready? Go ahead. Adjusting your current abilities so that we can figure out where to target and get better. Okay, now move that hand up to kind of the middle and see if you can do the same thing there. It may not be as much, but can you move just that hand from the bottom? Okay, maybe you couldn't. Go ahead and bring the hand back down to the belly and just try to move the top hand with your breath now, okay? And pay attention to whether or not it's your muscles trying to fake the motion or if you actually feel expansion from the inside. Some of these are going to be really hard, just so you know. Now, like we said, quadrants can matter. So you're going to take your hand to, let's say, the left side of your chest and just try to breathe into that. What about the right side? Go ahead and move that hand down to the right side of the ribs. And make sure you're not just doing this. Just going to breathe into it. Try to relax on that exhale. And other side. Left side ribs. This is the 3rd time I made this video, and these are getting easier. Okay, how about a little lower? And you could use the other hand if it feels better. Your body positioning is going to change this. So you can always play what makes things easier or not. Other side. Now squeeze your arms in at your side. If you want, you can kind of get a pillow or something and squeeze it under your armpit, squeeze it under both armpits. so you have something to hold on to. What this does, I'm just going to add a little bit of contraction to the side body, which is going to force the air to go a little bit more front and back. Okay, or hopefully it does. Okay, so we're going to see what you feel here. So this is a principle that we're going to use in the rest of the videos that you look at after the assessment, depending on where you feel like you need opening up. And of course, the assessments themselves can be your tool. You can just do this in the areas that you feel were an issue. We'll talk about at the end too. But I'm going to squeeze in tight, and without losing that, go ahead and just breathe. Just all you're going to do is add that contraction to the sides. How different does that feel? So we can use targeted muscle engagement to try to get into certain areas, okay? Now, this would be pretty cruel for me to ask people that are doing a shoulders course, presumably to improve your shoulder mobility, to now just reach every single part of your back and feel where you have engagement and where you don't. This is where our friend Belt is going to come in. I'm going to take this and put it just in the upper part of my back and draw it tightly enough that I can feel engagement. So I'm just pulling it tight so that when I inflate the balloon underneath of it, I feel so subtle engagements increasing in my hands. Or maybe you don't at all. And just like our other end range training stuff, you don't need to bang your head against the wall in an area that you don't get any expansion from. See how far you have to move off of that area until you get expansion. And then you can build slowly back into the other range. So get really good, get more expansion, elaborate and get a more concrete base, and then you can get back into the areas that you had more difficulty in before, okay? So I'm going to also take this a little bit, couple inches down. So I'm still on the upper back. And I'm across the shoulder blades here. And I'm going to pull tight. And I like to have it out to the sides as well so that I'm not just getting the sides of the rib cage inflation. I want to try to feel what's going on the back side. And from here, breathe. Be honest, are you just doing motion? Move it down a couple inches. And move it down a couple inches. Can you see how a stiff area adjacent to your shoulder might make the shoulder not have enough freedom of motion? If you're somebody with back pain, you can continue all the way down and work on that 360-degree expansion all the way. But since we're focusing on the shoulders, we're going to keep it to that. Okay? So, where did you feel that you could expand? Where was it difficult to expand into? Take that tool and use it throughout your day. You can easily be standing in line or sitting in your car or at your desk or whatever and do a few cars, 5 or 6 cars, 2 or 3, whatever. Do a little bit of those axials that Brian taught you, and then do 10 breaths into whatever range that you want to expand into. Remember, it's going to take practice before it becomes second nature to use that range of motion. So integrating into your life on a more frequent basis is going to help you out with that until it becomes just a normal thing that you do. So go forth and check out the rest of the videos using the tools that you just had, or continue with this. Easiest thing you can do anytime. It's going to change your life. Hope that you feel awesome and you get the beautiful space and fluid flow and just that, like, open the cells and let the water in and just let everything just percolate through and then contract and just get this beautiful flowing motion. Your body needs that kind of movement for proper nutrition through the tissues. So take advantage of your breath, use it, and enjoy your shoulders. And smile. Okay. Can't wait to hear about your success.